Hello everybody, welcome to the JavaScript course. In this video, I'm going to talk about the switch statement. So a switch statement is suitable for having a fixed number of choices. So when you have some fixed number of choices, you can consider using switch statement. And I'm going to talk about the use of the break keyword when we use the switch statement, which is a very important thing to consider. We can also allow the grouping of choices in the switch statements, so we don't need to really specify every single thing to do when one condition is met. We can allow the grouping of choices so that for many choices we can do the same thing. And finally, I'm going to talk about the data type issue of the switch statement. In general, the data type must match when we do the comparison in the switch statement. Otherwise, the switch statement doesn't work as expected. Now, let us see the HTML file first. The HTML file is quite simple. I just have a title and a heading. And this HTML file is linked to the JavaScript file, which is inside the JS folder, and the file name is simply called myscript.js. And the JS folder is simply at the same level of the index.html file. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the JavaScript file, which is this one. In order to use the strict mode, I have to say use strict at the very beginning of the JavaScript file. Okay, and after that I'm going to talk about the use of the switch statement. So a switch statement can help us decide from a fixed number of choices. So what does it mean by this one? We can have an example to illustrate this point. Suppose I have a prompt window to ask for a value to do the further comparison. The default value is A. So after getting the value, I'm going to do some comparison. When I want to have a number of choices to do after getting the value, I can use the switch keyword as follows: switch value. And how about the case to compare? I can have some idea like this one. When the value is simply equal to A, I will say case A. And when the value is really equal to A, I can do the alert window as follows. I want to say that the GPA is 4, and I will break the switch statement after doing the alert window. And I can have many other choices to go when the value is not equal to A, but it's equal to other letters. Again, I can say that the value can be B, so that I say that the GPA is equal to 3, and then I will just leave the switch statement and do the rest of the code by using the break keyword. So I can do something more about the cases. I have 4 cases now. How about the situation if the letter obtained isn't equal to one of these 4 choices? I can set up a default case like that one. I just say that the GPA is really unknown when the letter isn't A, B, C, or D. I will have a default case to handle the situation like that one. So let me save it and run it to see the effect. Save, reload the page. If I say A, I will have 4 as the answer. If I say B, I will have 3 as the answer. If I say C, I will have 2. If it is D for dog, I will have 1. And if I say E for egg, I will say GPA unknown because it is not equal to one of the 4 cases that I can tell you the GPA. Okay, so that is the result coming from the default case. Okay, and we can go back to the switch statement to see the effect of the break keyword. If I don't include the break keyword, I'm going to execute all the 4 choices. So let me see the effects by saving it first. Save, reload the page. If I say A, I will have GPA is 4. When I click OK, I will have GPA is 3 because I will just go to the next case to do the content inside the case statement. GPA is 2, GPA is 1. Even more, I'm going to do the default case because I don't even include the break after the last valid case. Okay, so that is the reason why we need to include the break keyword. Otherwise, we are going to go through every single case indicated in your switch statement. Okay, so that is the reason why we have to use the break keyword in the case that after which we want to quit the switch statement. Okay, so let me change back to the original case. Okay, that is the basic idea of a switch statement with the case keyword. That helps me do the choices one by one according to your value coming from a prompt window. And by using the switch keyword, I'm able to do the finite number of choices, including the default case for the cases that are not included in the switch statement. Okay. Now we see in the previous situation that we include the treatment for each of the cases. So is it really possible to have some grouping of the cases? Yes, we can do so that we can group some cases that have the same response. So we don't need to specify each of the cases with different responses. We can have 2 or more cases that have the same response. So let us see an example. Okay, so this is a prompt window that allows a user to enter the number of subjects he or she has studied. The default value is a string value, which is 0. Okay, this is a string rather than a number, because value obtained from the prompt window is a string by default. So how can I handle the number of subjects obtained? I can have some idea as follows. Okay, if the number of subjects is 0, I just say that it is not allowed. You have to study at least 1 subject, and then I will break. That means I will end the switch statement and do the rest of the code. And how about other cases? If the user says he or she has only studied 1 or 2 subjects, I will say that you can consider taking more subjects, and then I will leave the switch statement and do the rest of the code. So for 1 and 2, I have the same response. In this case, I can just join 2 cases together with the same response in this way. Case 1, case 2, joined together in this way. Okay, so I can have other choices. When the number of subjects is 3 and 4, I will say that you will feel comfortable with the workload, and I will break the switch statement and do the rest of the code. So for number 3 and 4, I will have the same response. If the input is 5, I will say that you are studying too many subjects, and I will break the switch statement to do the rest of the code. Of course, I can include the default case. If the value obtained from the prompt window is not equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, it means that it is a value that is larger than all these values. In this case, I just say that you are allowed to study 5 subjects at most. So that is the idea of using the case keywords to join 2 or more cases with 1 response. So let me see the effect by saving it first. Save, and then I reload the page. How many subjects? If I say 0, I will say not allowed. And then I will break the switch statement. How about 1? I will go to this alert window, which is also shared by the case number 2. Of course, when I do number 2, I will have the same alert window, okay. For number 3, I will have this alert window coming up. The same for number 4. Okay, you see the effects right now by joining 2 cases to 1 response. Number 5, I will go to this alert window and I will break the switch statement and do the rest of the code. And how about 6? I will just go to the default case and I will print out this statement instead. Okay. So that is the idea of joining some cases together with the same response. This is known as the grouping of some cases, shown here. Okay. After that, I'm going to talk about one more property of JavaScript. In doing the switch statement, we have to ensure that the data type must match. So let me see an example to illustrate the data type issue. Now I have a prompt window to allow the user to enter a number. And the default value is a string which contains a 0 inside. Since the prompt window would accept a string, we can expect that the number is a string obtained from the prompt function. Okay, the prompt function just gives me a string instead of a number. This is a pretty important property to understand. So when I do something like this one, there will be some problem. So when I compare a string 0 with a number 0, we cannot really do the alert window. So we can see the effect later to understand the problem. So you may expect that when I enter 0, I will get uInput 0 as the result coming from the alert window. But in reality, we cannot really do so. So let me see the effect by saving it and reloading the page. When I enter 0, you see I will have uInput other numbers, so I will go to the default case instead of going through the first case shown here. But how about entering 1? When I say 1, I'm able to say uInput 1 because I'm really able to compare a string whose content is 1 with the number value, which is a string whose content is 1. So for this case, when I enter 1, I'm going to compare a string number 1 with another string number 1. So that is allowed. So that's why we have to make sure that the data type must match, otherwise the comparison would fail. So I will have some comment to show you here. The idea is like this one. 0 is actually a number, not a string. So when you want to compare a number with a string, it is not allowed because they are not strictly equal to each other in terms of the data type issue. Okay. And how about the case number 1 here? I can also have some comment. So the value of 1 here is really a string, and the number, which is also a string, is strictly equal to the string whose content is 1. So this is a string, this is also a string, and the content of each of the strings is the same. So we can see that we can really do the alert window as expected when I input 1, because the input value of 1 given by the prompt window is really a string instead of a number. When I do the comparison with a string whose content is 1, I'm able to get true. So that's why I'm able to print out uInput 1 as the answer. When I enter 0, I'm not able to do the printing of uInput 0 because I will go to the default case when the data type of the number and the 0 here don't match. Okay. So that is the important property of the data type issue of the switch statement. Okay. So this video has already talked about so many things to consider when we want to use the switch statement. We can simply do each of the cases by using the break keyword. And also we are able to group some cases to get the same response by joining the cases together. Finally, I've talked about the data type issue of JavaScript when we use the switch keyword. If the data types don't match, I'm not able to do the real comparison and I'm not able to do the expected result. This is the end of the video. If you have any questions about my video, please leave your questions on the comment section below the video. If you like this video, please give me a like and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.